Check. Well, hello. My name is James. I'm a person in recovery. This is my addiction recovery live stream podcast at Mondays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribe and hit the bell. Tonight, I'd like to discuss the differences between the terms higher power and a God of your understanding. My chosen, not even chosen. The power that has restored me to sanity happens to be the 89-year-old program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Long story short, I drank and used drugs for almost 30 years of my life without power enough to get healthy and quit on my own. For the past 20 years, I've been recovering in many ways, but until I gave my will and my life over to the care of God as my understanding, nothing stayed. I am an agnostic, self-proclaimed agnostic. What's up, Mindsci? I don't know what happens after we die. I don't know what God looks like. I believe if I did, it wouldn't be a power greater than myself. So let's talk about the first 3 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Step 1. We realized we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. Number 1, none of us would be here if we didn't realize we were powerless over alcohol. None of us will seek a way to do it. So we have done step 1, or else we wouldn't be seeking help. What's up, James Horn? What's up, Pauline? It was good seeing you, and it's good to see you here. To be honest, Pauline, you might know what I'm talking about. I just came from a meeting that the topic suggested by the facilitator at the meeting, the chairperson, was a higher power, what that means to everybody in the room. It irked me because this is very important and it's something that saved my life. The distinction between the words higher power and a God of your understanding. The second step to AA is we came to believe in a power greater than ourselves that could restore us to sanity. Not once does it say God in that sentence, but I listened to everyone at the meeting talk about God. It is said that you have to do the steps in order. That's why they're 1 through 12. And I've learned through harsh experience of doing it, of trying to do it my own way, that is very important. The second step doesn't mention God at all. It mentions a power greater than ourselves. The third step is made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God of our understanding. So I turn my will and my life over to the care of God of my understanding. So let's talk about this. What's up, Even? If you're the queen of relapse, I'm the king. I relapsed because I continued to take my will and my life and my thinking back to my own ideas. Here's what I have found. Number 1, the words, the big book, and the program of Alcoholics Anonymous is a power greater than myself that I believe can restore me to sanity. Number 1, I'm not just saying that because I continued to go to AA regardless of whether I wanted to or not. Regardless of what my alcoholism was telling me, I continued to show up to meetings and began to work the program. So that means I believe, number 1, that I'm powerless over alcohol. Step 1 is done. Number 2, a power greater than me can restore me to sanity. I'm already coming into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous because I believe it is a power greater than me that can restore me to sanity. Not once has it mentioned God yet. Now, I have been a self-proclaimed agnostic my entire life. I just don't know. I just don't know about God. I have more questions than answers. However, after 20 years and a handful of relapses and damn near death, I came to believe the power greater than me, Alcoholics Anonymous, and that's only one power greater than me. There's many I can recognize. For instance, the 13 of us that are here is more powerful than any one of us alone. So this live stream is a power greater than any one of us alone in our in our addictive minds. Another power greater than me is an alcoholic that has achieved sobriety and happiness, joy, and freedom. So I will listen to that recovering alcoholic because I am just an alcoholic trying to get sober and trying to get happiness, joy, and freedom. So, step 2, coming to believe in a power greater than ourselves that can restore us to sanity. If you're here on this live stream, you are seeking a power greater than yourself, or you believe in a power greater than yourself that can restore you to sanity. The third step, turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand Him. A year and a half ago, after being in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous without a God of my understanding, I asked a higher power, a power greater than myself, my sponsor, how he got the God thing because he came in atheist. He suggested, number 1, do I think I am God? He asked me. And I said, no. And he explained to me, well, I am following my thoughts and my will and my life like they are the Alpha Omega. I essentially am treating my ideas and my opinions like they are God. And I was like, oh shit. Then he said, have you ever prayed for the willingness to believe? I believe that you can't do the program of Alcoholics Anonymous without a God of your understanding. It's in the book. It's in the 12 steps. I needed a God of my understanding, and I asked my sponsor, which is, I believe, a power greater than myself, how did you get God? So, number 1, higher power and God are different. In my understanding, the steps were laid out in order. The words of the big book and the program were written eloquently and meticulously. So they didn't just mean something else when they say it. They say what they mean you have to do. They suggest what they mean. Step 2, I come to believe in a power greater than myself. I could be an atheist and still go to Alcoholics Anonymous because I believe it is a power greater than myself that can restore me to sanity. Now, number 3 is where I got tripped up. What is a God of my understanding? So the third thing my sponsor said to me was, if you were to have a God, what would it look like? What would you think God is? And I explained to him my ideas about what an all-powerful, universal, incomprehensible, vast creator and organizer of the universe is. And he said, that's a good start. Let's move on. Because a God of my understanding, he explained to me in his own experience, which is an experience greater than my experience. So I listen to that and not my own ideas. There's a very simple fact for addicts and alcoholics. Our mind is diseased with addiction and alcoholism. What we think is true, what we think is good, what we think is powerful advice is not. We have a disease of perception. So the second step has a very simple purpose in my understanding, and that is we are no longer the alpha omega when it comes to how we live. How we live has gotten us drunk, high, jails, institutions, and death. We're miserable. The gift of desperation comes, rock bottom. Therefore, I asked my sponsor, how do I get the God thing? I need God thing. I can't be calling it nature anymore. It says God with a capital G in the book. The program of Alcoholics Anonymous is a power that I believe, a greater power than myself that can restore me to sanity. So instead of arguing with my alcoholic thinking why God can't exist, why I can't work the steps because I don't believe in God, I'm so smart, I know everything, that's alcoholic thinking. So I made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood him. I understand God to be expressing itself, himself, herself to me in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, because good things happen when I believe in God. I never on my own steam would I have believed in God. Alcoholics Anonymous is an obvious, tangible power greater than myself, because since I've been following the program and working the program to the best of my ability, progress not perfection, I have gained happiness, joy, and freedom, and drifted away from restlessness, irritability, and discontentment. So it is very obvious to me that Alcoholics Anonymous, the 90-year-old program, the book, the steps, and the meetings, is a power greater than me that can restore me to sanity, because it has tangible proof for my cynical ass. When I'm doing my own thinking, I get drunk, jails, institutions, and death. When I turn my will over to a power greater than myself, which is the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, and stop arguing with my ignorant, alcoholic, entitled ideas. I want to say I'm so smart. Look at these ideas I have that make so much sense that there is no God. If a Bible thumper comes to me, I just want to just knock him, you know what I mean? That's me, that's my ego. My ego gets me drunk. Why would I listen to it still? When we're desperate enough, we stop listening to our ego. We have to, or we die. Period. So, first step, I'm powerless over my addiction. Second step, there's got to be something that's powerful enough to restore me to sanity. That's the 12 steps of AA for me. That's the meetings for me. That's the program for me, because it's obvious. There is no denying that it works. In the people that I followed, the people that were sober 10 years, I listened to them. They're obviously have access to a power greater than me and my alcoholism, so I consider them a power greater than me. It's obvious. My ego will trick me into thinking I'm a smart, intelligent, strong person. My ideas matter. How is that true when I continually get drunk, when I follow my own way of thinking and my own will? It's not. The proof is in the pudding. AA, the program, the people, a power greater than me, so I live by their suggestions now. One of the suggestions is, the third step is, come to believe and made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the power of God as I understand him. So the third thing my sponsor asked of me when I asked him was the straw on the camel's back, the camel being my stubborn agnosticism, my stubborn opinions about how I'm too smart to follow God. And he said, now just make a decision to turn your will and your life over to something that I don't even know what God is, but I believe and I pray because a power greater than me, AA, suggests that I do. It's very simple. When I didn't do this because I'm so smart and I'm so holy and I have better ideas, I failed. When I do this, I gain peace, serenity, happiness, joy, and freedom. That's very simple to me. I don't need to know what God looks like. I don't need to know anything but what's working. So, and my sponsor also explained to me that my understanding of God will grow and flourish as he did. He was an atheist when he came into the rooms, desperate for a solution. Atheists believe there is no God. Agnostics don't know, and believers know or think they know. My whole thing is I don't know anything. But Alcoholics Anonymous, the program, suggested that if I walk the way that they have walked, I will experience the promises. I will experience the promises: happiness, joy, freedom, fearlessness, serenity, peace. I want those things, so I began to take the suggestions. A year and a half ago, I finally took the suggestion of, you don't have to know what God is. You just do as we have done. Recovered alcoholics have done. A God of your understanding. If you don't believe, just believe that I believe. Here's the other thing about the second and third step. Came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. There is one very poignant point in there, and that is, there is a power greater than myself. Stop making all these decisions and trying to control the outcome of your universe. I am not God. I don't know what God is. I don't know, but I'm definitely not it, because I'm almost dying here over and over again. So I wish I could put it more simply, but I was in a meeting tonight where the topic was higher power in the first 3 steps, and everyone proceeded to talk about God. Sure, the implications suggest that it's God, but Bill didn't write those things on accident. Bill W. and the founders of AA and the writers and editors of the Big Book did not write those things on accident. God is not mentioned in the second step. And this has been proven to me because when I did the steps in order, the second step, came to believe in a power greater than myself that could restore me to sanity. I believed in AA, so I listened to AA. AA said you got to have God of your understanding. It doesn't have to be Jesus. It doesn't have to be Buddha. It has to be a God of your understanding. You have to have a concept, some sort of belief that there is or can be or might be. You might have to start with might be, because might be is better than no, there's not, when you're getting drunk and almost dead on no, there's not a God. So you're looking at an agnostic right now, still to this day. However, I believe, because my higher power, one of the powers greater than myself, which has proven without a doubt, AA and the program is a power greater than myself. I have never been able to stop drinking on my own, ever. And I've tried everything, and I'm sure you guys can relate. Because they say the third step, turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand him. That's what I do. When I don't when I'm confused or restless, irritable, and discontent, I just say, God, help me. That's an agnostic saying, God, help me. That's because the third step of Alcoholics Anonymous tells me to do it. It doesn't tell me to, it suggests it. You can do it, you can not do it. I didn't do it for the longest time. Now that I have conceptualized, and I don't have even this, trust me, I barely even understand it. I don't have to understand it. It's not my will, and it's not my will. It's not my thinking. It wasn't my idea. It was the idea of a power greater than me, which was Alcoholics Anonymous, the 12 steps, and the meetings. My ideas that I know how my ideas work. When I come up with great ideas, I know how they're going to work. Some of them don't work. That's enough evidence for me to stop trying my own ideas and start trying AAs, or an alcoholic that has gotten sober and stayed sober and is now happy. Give me your ideas. Tell me how you did it. I'm giving up on my will, on my ideas and my opinions. I'm surrendering them, because we identify with our ideas and our opinions. We identify with them. That's why everybody's fighting over this and fighting over that, because my ideas are me. Well, fuck me. You know what I'm saying? I have almost died on my own will and my own ideas and shit. Like, sure, I can do some things well, and sure, I have good ideas that happen to work out. But when it comes to alcoholism is a power greater than me. So I need another power greater than me and my alcoholism to solve it. So like, that's all I needed to know. And it took me so long to even realize that. But in the meeting tonight, there was only like 5% of the people in the room that realized that you got to do the steps in order, and the word God isn't mentioned until the third step. A higher power means that it's not you anymore. You have to come to believe in a power greater than yourself. Addiction and disease is a disease. Addiction and alcoholism, these are diseases of self. Me, all the time me, my ideas, my opinions, I am God. And I never said I am God. I never realized it, but that's the way I was treating myself. When you realize you're not God, your life becomes much more pleasant. You're not in charge of all these outcomes. I don't have to stress and work and hold all these things accountable to myself. There is a God, and it is not me. So the first steps in so many words are, I can't, he can, let him. But higher power, the term higher power, in my understanding, isn't meant to mean God. It just means a higher power, like AA, a higher power, like a recovered alcoholic, a higher power, like the information on this live stream, or even other YouTuber. If you come to believe in something, you'll know it. You don't have to even force it. I came to believe in AA before I even started going. 10 years before I even started going. I just knew I had to go to AA. It was a power greater than me, and someday I'm going to have to go there to stop my drinking. I am not God. That's it. That's step 2. I'm not God. Where's the power that can restore me to sanity? For me, that's obvious. The program of Alcoholics Anonymous. But alcoholism is so cunning, baffling, and powerful that I've been going to Alcoholics Anonymous for 20 years without doing the God stuff. When I was desperate enough, I said, all right, give me the God thing. I have to wrap my head around it. and I consulted a power greater than myself to explain it to me, my sponsor and the other people in AA. If I was stuck on the God thing, but I knew I needed it, I consulted a power greater than me, my higher power, AA. Tell me how to get this God thing. And it worked. Because my alcoholic thinking, probably my alcoholism, was like, you'll never get the God thing. You want to believe, but you're never going to because you're too smart for that, or you know why you shouldn't believe in God and all that. Well, that shit wasn't working. And I would take that to the gates of insanity or death if it weren't for the higher power of mine, Alcoholics Anonymous. I was powerless over the fact that I didn't know what the God thing was. So I went to the power greater than me, Alcoholics Anonymous, my Alcoholics Anonymous sponsor. It took me 10, 15 years to do that because my brain was convincing me no one can explain it to you. Well, my brain, I'm not powerful enough to even know that yes, they can. So I took the suggestions of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I'm sober and relatively happy, relatively joyous, and relatively free. And I got some chocolate for Easter from the Easter Bunny, yo. Even. What's up, y'all? James Horn. Holly. Mindsci. Some only pray once or twice a day or a week, so 10 times a day for me, with the God of my understanding. Right on, man. There's no one way to do it. I didn't get it until certain words in a certain order were explained to me by a certain man. I happen to think that this thing is almost like luck and fortune and a roll of the dice because it took me so long to get that. I don't have to have a perfect conception of God. I just need to let go of myself and all of my arguments and all of my precious little opinions. I need to let go because I am not God. Then you move on to the fourth step because you have begun to do. These steps aren't just done perfectly, each one of them 100%, and then you're done for life. You're cured. It's not like that. The very first step is one that you got to do 100%. I'm powerless over alcohol. My life has become unmanageable. That's easy enough. I'm in jail. My leg's gone. You know what I'm saying? I'm powerless over alcohol. My life has become unmanageable. Now you got to come to believe in a power greater than yourself that can restore you to sanity. It's very obvious what that is to me. Alcoholics Anonymous. The third step is where I got tripped up for damn near 2 decades. I now understand I am the problem. My thinking is the problem. I have to let go of my thinking and my arguments as to why God can't exist in my precious little world. In my all-important, precious, super intelligent, I know more than 8 billion people world, I'm like, God can't exist because I'm too smart. Well, I got to let go of that if I want to live. If I want to live happily and joyous and free. There's a saying, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? Well, I was insisting on being right for 20 years, and I was drunk and miserable and restless and irritable and discontent. You know what I mean? I don't say God doesn't exist. I don't jump over the parts of God in the big book and the program and spirituality and all that. I just say, AA, what would you do? AA says pray to God. So I pray to God. Does AA get drunk and vandalize shit and curse people out and dump girlfriends and quit jobs or get fired? AA doesn't, you know what I'm saying? If AA was a person, well, that's good, Pauline, because that meeting, because I'm human, that meeting kind of pissed me off. The topic was higher power, and everyone jumped right to God. Step 2, it doesn't say anything about God. Do you think Bill and all the things that have worked for 100 years, do you think it was written on accident? No. Step 2 is about a higher power that can restore you to sanity. That can be, I think it's very obvious. The program of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's very obvious. The people that work the program to the best of their ability, stay sober, and are relatively successful, happy, joyous, and free. That is obvious to me that AA is a power greater than me that can restore me to sanity. Now, step 3, turn my will and my life over to the capital G of God as my understanding. That one is tough. But when another higher power, my AA sponsor, explained how he did it and how I should do it if I want to remain sober, I turned my will and my life over to the care of that person that was talking to me, because I believe God shows up for me in the rooms of AA. If I could explain God, then it wouldn't be very much of a higher power, would it? If I could explain God, it wouldn't be very much of a God, would it? I would be God. If I could explain God, then I would be God. That's my God of my understanding, is a totally incomprehensible and all-powerful being that I can't even begin to put into a description. That is the God of my understanding. If I know what he's going to do or what it's going to do, if I knew what it was, then it wouldn't very much be a supreme being, would it? To say that I know is to say that I know everything. To say that I know what happens after we die, to say that I know which religion is right, that's saying I know everything. All that this is doing is saying I'm not God. I'm powerless over alcohol. I'm not God. Turn your will and your life over to a care of God as you understand him. And those are the first 3 steps of AA. I can't, he can, let him. But the word God isn't in the second step. You can do the first and second step without God. In my understanding, and I'm a very literal person, I also know that Bill W. was a very literal person and an excellent writer. He didn't accidentally leave the word God out of the second step. So when I just knew that my sponsor is a power greater than me, he's sober, I'm not, that's a power greater than me. So when I believed him and listened to him and not my own stubborn ideas, that was me giving my will and my life over to a God of my understanding. And I do it daily. Our habits are going to insist otherwise. This isn't a perfect thing. I'm not a saint. Bill wasn't a saint. Nobody's a saint. But we practice these principles in all of our affairs. Progress, not perfection. I forget. On a daily basis, I forget to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand him. And my evil, cunning, baffling, and powerful disease of alcoholism convinces me in my own voice that I'm running the show. I know there is no God. What the hell is that all about? Blah, 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 blah. And before you know it, I'm miserable and on my way to another drink, drug, or addictive behavior. And to me, that is a very simple illustration of how the first 3 steps work. Even if you're an adamant atheist, Bill W., the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, was an adamant atheist before he had a spiritual awakening. You could call this my spiritual awakening. The fact that to believe in God, you don't need to know what it is. That's what the term faith means. Faith in something that you can't see, hear, touch, or smell. That's what it means. And the proof, the evidence that I insist on having comes with my sobriety. I'm sober. I was obsessed with drinking. If I wasn't drinking, I was thinking about drinking 24/7 for at the age of 14 to 24 to 34. Now I'm 44. And gradually in my 30s, I stopped drinking for most of my 30s. I had a relapse because I took my will back. I took it back and started running the show. And I'm so glad, Pauline, that makes sense, because I really wanted to just take that meeting over and just be like, I thought we were talking about a higher power. Why is everyone talking about God? God is in the third step. Hey, Noah. Noah's like, well, I don't want to talk about what you guys are talking about. I'm just going to talk about my meth problem again. Noah, you can't stop using drugs and drinking. You're powerless over it. Admit that and move on to the second step. Where's the power that can restore you to sanity? Noah, you have to come to believe in a power greater than yourself that can restore you to sanity. Well, yeah, I had to get that out of me because, number one, I spent 2 decades not knowing it. And to look at this room full of about 25 people when we're talking about the second step, which is a higher power, and they all jump straight to why they can't get the God thing. We're not talking about the God thing. We're talking about, very simply, read every word of the second step. Don't read in between the lines. Don't add or subtract words. Read the sentence. We came to believe in a power greater than ourself that can restore us to sanity. Does it say God? No. There are many powers that I use daily that restore me to sanity. The literature of the big book, the daily reflections. I call another alcoholic. It's been said that 2 brains are more powerful than 1. Well, in the world of recovery, this is absolutely true. And lo and behold, Alcoholics Anonymous suggests that you call another alcoholic in recovery daily. If I were to listen to that power greater than myself the first time and not thought my way through it and deny it and think why I shouldn't call another alcoholic, I would have been happy, joyous, and free and sober a long time ago. No, I'm not pissed off. I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know, bro. You're continuing on the same path of misery and addiction because Noah is driving. You have to you have to find a power greater than yourself. Well, hi. I didn't mean to offend you or anything, bro. It's just, uh, I see a lot of me in yourself, the me that was dying. When, so I shouldn't get mad I shouldn't. I'm not mad. I was annoyed. Yeah, I get annoyed because I'm human. I get annoyed when I see people doing what I did because I've been in comas and seizures and fucking damn near death. And I'm only human, bro. When I see people doing that same thing, I just want to be able to put words into a sentence that somehow makes sense and gets to them. Those words would be stop what you're doing, which is listening to Noah, and go to AA and listen to them. Go to NA and listen to them. But you have your own path, and forgive me for acting annoyed. I know it's probably annoying you that I'm acting annoyed, but we're only human. The reason I'm so passionate about this is because it took me for a loop too. But the fact is, I can't get you sober and I can't get you drunk. It's just something that you're going to have to find for yourself. But if you're looking for the answer, it is this: stop talking and listen. Stop doing what you suggest and start doing what people that are sober suggest. Another suggestion is don't take that sentence and turn it into something completely different. Listen to every word and just do that. Just like the steps. If you want what we have, you will do what we did. Come to believe in a power greater than yourself. Come to believe in a power greater than yourself that can restore you to sanity. So Noah, what haven't you done? And no, I'm not just asking you what I've told you to do that you haven't done. I'm asking you, what haven't you done because Noah has come up with some sort of excuse or some sort of brilliant idea to not do it? I don't have a ride. I can't do this. I can't do that. There will come a point where you're either desperate enough to do that, and you will, or you die. That's our last stream was about, am I willing to do whatever it takes to stay sober? Yes. That for me was, let me get somehow, I got to get this God thing comprehended in my brain because it's all in the book and all in the steps, and people that have gone before me have a God of their understanding in their life. Right. The worst place an addict can be is between his or her ears in his own head. It's a bad neighborhood. Our alcoholism, our addiction has us isolating and thinking for ourselves. It thinks it has us thinking we're thinking for ourselves. It is thinking for us. You have to stop listening to, I had to stop listening to myself and start listening to those that have succeeded. I haven't gone to rehab, Noah says. That's about it. Once you go on everything, I mean, it's hard to remember sometimes the purpose of life. So then why not just end it or keep doing drugs? Okay. I've been there too. You can do that. It's a free world. You can do that. I will tell you that it is hell on earth. And to be honest, I have no problem with that word that would get me banned if I said it, the ending of one's life. I have no problem with it. You know what I mean? There's been times where I've thought about doing it, but I had dogs or people that would be sad if I did it. You know what I mean? I honestly have no problem with it. Um, and as far as doing drugs and drinking, I used to say I'm an alcoholic. That's what I do. I'm going to do it until I die, God damn it. However, I discovered through my own experience, and I'm sure you will too, that that road is a disgusting and dark place to go down. If you think you've seen bad before, it gets worse exponentially. The places I have been are inexplicably horrifying. The places in my mind, the places in life, the physical places. There's shit you wouldn't even get it if I explained it to you. It gets super dark. So I suggest that you don't go that route, Noah, but we all have our own journey. You know what I mean? We all have our own journey. But if there was one thing I could say, if this was my dying breath, if there was one thing I could say to addicts and alcoholics, AA, it would be this. It would be AA, always has a seat open. Go there and stay. And then I would die. That would be for real my last words. Go to AA and stay. And don't get it twisted. AA works for fentanyl addiction and all that shit too. It's all the 12 steps are all the same. It's just some people are more comfortable in NA, some people are more comfortable in AA. It's been my experience that people in NA go to AA and stay. People from AA don't ever really go to NA and stay. Here's an example of coming to believe in a power greater than myself that will restore me to sanity. I'm an alcoholic. I call myself an introvert. I just want to be alone. I just want to isolate. I just want to do my own thing and go for myself all the time. Become more comfortable. That's addiction in a nutshell. We're uncomfortable and we want to become comfortable. So we're obsessed with ourselves all the time and how to be comfortable. The power greater than me suggested that going to meetings, listening, and following suggestions will work. So I finally did that. It's uncomfortable. I don't want to do it. I have to drag my ass to a meeting sometimes. I have to drag my ass to do this live stream sometimes. But the powers greater than me suggest that that is the way. Even though my alcoholism will argue to the brink of why I shouldn't go to a meeting, I go anyway because I'm not the one with great ideas. I'm not the one winning. Those suggestions are the winning suggestions. So I do it. That's an example of getting out of myself and turning my will over to a power greater than me, a God of my understanding. Noah says, my addiction is, if you remember, was the classic OG Percocet. That is what took me to insanity of doing everything I believe because I got sick of that obsession after several months. I have videos about detox on this channel. There's three drugs that can kill you from withdrawal. That is alcohol, benzodiazepines like Xanax, Klonopin, and Ativan, and barbiturates, which I think Quaaludes were barbiturates. But those ones mess with your central nervous system and can kill you from withdrawal. Most other drugs like nicotine and heroin are hell to come off of, but they won't kill you. Only a power greater than you can take the obsession away, Sigma. So you can just stop listening to your ideas, or you can continue on and fail. Wing myself down and have comfort meds from my doctor for context. Right on, Austin. Even has the suggestion, speak up, get numbers, support. This is also powers greater than ourselves. Support. Many recovering addicts is a power greater than one recovering addict. Very simple, very believable. If anybody is searching for a power greater than themselves because they feel insane and obsessed with addiction, go to the rooms of the 12-step programs, or go to Favor, or go to Celebrate Recovery. Go to something that is not you. Go to something that you don't want to go to, because that is proof that it is something your alcoholism isn't. Our alcoholism talks us out of these programs of recovery like AA, NA, Favor. Our alcoholism and addiction talks us out of these things because it is terrified of the rooms of AA. In the rooms of AA, alcoholism cannot exist. So if anyone's searching for a power greater than themselves, search no longer. Here's the answer. Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Cocaine's Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, Codependents Anonymous, Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. Oh, Austin, you're trying to call in? All right. Well, let me put the phone here. All right, it's on. Phone line is on. Call me if you want. I don't, you know what I'm saying? If you want to know the right thing to do, it's exactly of the opposite of what you want to do. The number will work right now. I just turned it on. I leave it off until somebody mentions they want to call in, because I get drunks calling in super drunk. And if there's one thing I believe that AA taught me, it's don't talk to an alcoholic when they're drunk. You might as well be talking to a wall. Talk to one when they want to recover.
Call from.
Hey, what's up, Austin?
Hey, how are you doing, man?
Pretty good. You guys let me know if you can hear Austin. I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Man, I've been better. I was really just like scouring YouTube, trying to find some hope. Tomorrow I'll be jumping down to cold turkey from like relatively short-acting opiates. Um, I've weaned myself down to the extent where I'm not really I don't think there's a point for me to go any lower than I am. Um, my main question was, what what can I guess hold on to hope for in these first couple days of withdrawal that's gonna stick. I always do this for whether it's my son, whether it's my parents. I'm always doing it for some other reason other than myself. I guess I guess I'm just looking for something to hold on to and to give me hope to carry me through this withdrawal process.
Sure. Yeah. Um, it's a good question. I've heard people that have 20 years of sobriety say when they came in, I know a guy that says when he came in 20 years ago, it was to get off your back sobriety, which means he wanted to get his wife off his back about quitting drinking. He wanted to get his parents off his back. So it definitely has been said that you can't recover if you're doing it for someone else. It's a very personal addiction is a very personal thing, and so is recovery. So
Sure.
that is definitely a good reason. So do you have any reason for yourself that you would like to
Um,
recover?
other than other than just trying to be more connected to God. I mean, if anybody, I've kind of went back and forth with this stuff for as long as I can remember. And the last period of sobriety that I had, that was the longest, was almost 4 years, and I was really involved in the church. I was really involved with just doing acts of service in my church and for other people. And as you can imagine, taking I don't want to be drug specific, but taking opiates or anything for that matter, you get very selfish and very to yourself very fast. So that's my main priority, is to get back spiritually to where I was, because there was no better feeling than that. There was no better feeling than I don't know. I guess going through life for the right reasons, and I didn't really have a want to use for the most part. Although although my addictive nature did kind of pop up from time to time, it was very easy for me to shake off. So that's my main goal, is just not to continue this cycle. I'm 32 years old, and I've literally done this since I was 13. So um, just time to get serious about sobriety.
My bad, dude. I was talking into a muted mic. My bad. Shit. I
No,
would.
I could hear you. I could
Oh.
hear you. I'm not sure if the channel could, but
Oh, okay. Um, oh, yeah. Okay. I'm glad you heard me. You have a God of your understanding, so turn your will and your life over to the care of that God and get back to doing what you were doing when you were recovering. And that is your motivation. So here's what I'll say about you saying that your addiction did pop up. We're addicts. There's no treatment to it. I mean, there is no cure to it. There's only a daily treatment, and that's uh, praying to God, getting with other recovering addicts, changing your mind into that of what you were talking about before, just being happy, joyous, and free in your spiritual life. So, to me, for you, listening to you, the obvious answer is do what you did before and keep doing it with the knowledge and experience that you now have. That is, it can diminish if you don't practice it on a daily basis. So when you do that for yourself, what happens is, for your mom and all the people you were talking about that want you to recover, they get the secondhand effect of you recovering for yourself, because you were using for yourself and they got the second hand from that. But now that you'll recover for yourself, they will get the second hand from that. But you have to do it for yourself. And this is called a living amends. You make amends to them for the damage you've done while you were using. And that's that.
Sure. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I'll go back to watching the podcast.
The other thing I would suggest is, if you've never been to AA or NA, look up on na.org or aa.org a meeting. Go there and lay yourself at say, I can't quit. And they've been there before. So you just let God show you where to go and walk by faith. And if you do it a day at a time, one day at a time, before you know it, you're recovering. You've been recovering for a year. So like tomorrow, I would suggest, when you wake up, please God, get in my head before I do. That's what I say. I said, please God, get in my head before I do, and let me do your will, not mine. And then when you go to bed tomorrow night, say, thank you, God, for keeping me sober. And you do that, it's a daily reprieve. And you would start tomorrow one day at a time.
Sure. Yeah, that's something that I definitely haven't done very well, is the one day at a time. It's always been, I'm always future tripping about something. And then I guess this is more of a side note comment, that church and stuff like that. I've got so many mixed reviews about AA. I've been before and stuff like that. But then I started researching, I guess the history of it, and got my head like really washed with all these different opinions. If you're saved and you're whole again, then why do you have to identify as an addict, which makes sense, or an alcoholic? But then again,
it makes sense to addicts.
Right. What you all are saying is making sense as well. So it's like, I don't know. I need to really do this for me and not look at what everybody else is saying.
One of the things that makes sense to me, addicts wonder why they have to call themselves addicts. It's like, look, it's not what I think. What I think is the reason I'm addicted. So I just do it because a power greater than me suggests that I do. I don't argue with it. I don't say it's stupid. I don't tell them my opinions about it or anything like that, for one simple reason. My opinions got me drunk. The people telling me they don't tell you to call yourself an alcoholic. You can go to AA and just be like, hey, what's up? You know what I'm saying? I'm Austin. You know what I mean? But no one's going to, the only requirement to go to AA is a desire to stop drinking. It's written in the book. So but my simple reason for why I don't argue with AA is AA's been getting alcoholics like me sober for 100 years, and I get me drunk. My ideas get me drunk. So if I got a problem with AA, it's probably, it's null and void, because my problems and ideas and what I like and what I dislike is what the problem is. So AA told me to pray. For 20 years, I was like, well, I don't pray. I'm an agnostic. I don't know who I'm praying with. And here's my brilliant idea and blah, 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 blah. Well, I got drunk. So how good was that? And it's like all these addicts on all these feeds you're reading about how they dislike how I have to call myself an alcoholic. Well, which do you dislike better? Calling yourself an alcoholic or getting drunk and dead? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I think that comes from, from my experience, the 3 or 4 people you hear about that were basically struck sober by God overnight, and they've kind of never had a problem with it again. But from my experience and everybody that I know and talk to, it doesn't happen very often. So,
It says in the
yeah,
book, most of our spiritual awakenings have come in the educational variety over time. And the great white light is like few and far between. That happens to, it doesn't happen to everybody. God bless you if it does. I would love a great white light that just strikes all my problems down. But in the book of AA, it says most of our spiritual awakenings come in a way of the educational variety, which happens over time. So, like, all of our journeys are different. The good news is you already have faith and a program of God, and you've stayed sober on it before, so you know how it'll feel and you know what to do. All you got to do is do it, and then daily reprieve and learn more as you go. So I think you're doing great, man. I can hear the sincerity and the desperation in your voice, and you've already quit the opiates or toned them down, and you're well on your way, I think. And I just say get back into that spiritual Austin mode, and you'll be straight.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, sir. I really appreciate it, and thank you for the encouragement.
Well, thanks for calling, Austin, and good luck, and keep coming back.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
All right, brother. Austin. There's one more thing before we go. If you have done something for 4 years and stayed sober and happy, joyous, and free, go back to that something and start there and expand on that. You have already had experience in sobriety. One of the reasons I have so much to share on this channel is because I've had experience in sobriety and I've had experience in addiction, both. My journey is both. I've relapsed. I've had 7.5 years straight of abstinence from alcohol, and I've drank for 10 years straight. So if you had something, then that's what I kept doing, was going back to AA. And I kept surrendering my great, brilliant ideas. Well, why do I have to call myself an alcoholic? There's some people, like, it's semantics. I'll tell you exactly why. Because the power greater than yourself is suggesting it. If you have a problem with it, and won't do it, you're going to get drunk again. Or if you don't, then you're doing enough already. But I don't argue with AA anymore. I don't argue with AA anymore. It's a power greater than me. Why would I argue with something that's saving my life? And then more will be revealed is another thing it says in the book. And that is absolutely true. All I do is do the leap of faith, trust a power greater than me, turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand him, and move on. I hope that helps some of you, or at least one of you out there. And if you're having trouble with life, hand it over to a power greater than you and do as they suggest and do as God would do. Know what I mean? Hey, what's up, Pauline? I'm glad we got to talk and clear some of that up. And I'm glad I'm just glad to see you here. And when I see you, that goes for all of you, even Mind's Eye. What's up, Ryan? And Austin, thank you for calling in. Miss # Holly Ford, as always. Noah, keep going, Noah. Not on the path of Noah's way, but on a path of a power greater than you. That would be anybody that has kicked that is sober. Anybody that is sober is a power greater than Noah, whom is fucked up. Anybody that is sober is a power greater than James, who gets fucked up. So I follow them. A power greater than you. Read the 12 steps of AA. If you immediately have a problem with them, that's your addiction. Your addiction's going to chase you away from AA. That's my experience. Grabowski Lane, that one guy, all of y'all, thanks for coming out. I stream live addiction recovery live stream podcasts on Mondays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Click that join button if you'd like to support the cause down in the description or in the chat box. And Austin, it sounds like you're on the right path, man. I can hear when somebody is ready to change, essentially. And nothing changes if nothing changes. So I say go back to doing what you were doing those 4 years and do it this time. You could do it one day at a time for the rest of your life. All right, y'all. I'll see you Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, keep it clean, keep it real, and keep doing the damn thing. Peace.